Most monsters are old, so old in fact that no one can really remember where they came from. A story is told by one person, then another. The details change, names disappear, centuries pass, and eventually no one knows whether the thing at the center of the story was ever real. Slenderman is different. We know exactly where he came from. We know the website, we know the username, we know the photographs, and we know when the monster was born. June 10th, 2009. 2 days earlier, users on an internet forum called Something Awful had started a simple challenge: create paranormal images, fake photographs, the kind of picture that might make someone stop scrolling for a second and wonder whether what they were looking at was real. Then a user named Victor Serge posted two black and white photographs. In one, a group of children could be seen outside. Standing behind them was something unusually tall, thin, human enough to recognize as a person, but wrong enough to keep looking at. Its face had no visible features. Its body seemed unnaturally stretched, and beneath the photographs were captions. They spoke of missing children, a photographer who had disappeared, a name that had never existed before, the Slenderman. The photographs were fake. There's no mystery about that. They were manipulated by a man named Eric Knudsen. The person behind the Victor Search username was no secret police investigation, no hidden archive, no monster. It was fiction. And normally, that is where a story like this should end. Someone makes a frightening image, people share it, the internet gets bored, but Slenderman didn't disappear. People began adding to him. More photographs appeared, then stories, documents, witness accounts, missing people. New creators began deciding what Slenderman could do. Some said he lived in forests, some said he followed children, some claimed he could affect memory. Others connected him to cameras, static and electronic interference. Some gave him long tentacle-like limbs. Others described nothing more than a tall man standing in the distance. There was no official version, no rulebook, no single story everyone agreed on. Slenderman was changing every time someone talked about him, and somehow that made him feel more real, because real legends are rarely consistent. Ask 10 people to describe the same local ghost story, and you may hear 10 different versions. The location changes, the victim changes, the creature changes. One person remembers eyes, another remembers a voice. Someone else insists it never spoke at all. Contradictions don't always kill folklore. Sometimes they create it. Then came videos projects like Marble Hornets took the idea of a tall figure and placed it inside shaky cameras, corrupted footage, and ordinary locations. The entire experience was built around anticipation. You know what you were looking for, you know the shape, you know the feeling. For years, the internet practiced seeing Slenderman, but there was still one problem. He was new, painfully new. Vampires had centuries of folklore behind them. Ghosts existed in stories from cultures around the world. Creatures hiding in forests were older than written history. Slenderman, 2009, a Photoshop thread. If Slenderman had existed before the internet, surely someone should have seen him. A hunter, a traveler, a child, a priest. Someone should have written something down, and according to the internet, someone had. Stories began circulating around an old German figure, Der Grossmann, the tall man. According to the versions of the story shared online, this creature had existed hundreds of years before Slenderman. It supposedly lived in forests. It watched children. Old illustrations were connected to it. Suddenly Slenderman appeared to have a history. There was only one problem. The history wasn't real, at least not the Slenderman version of it. The supposed ancient connection appeared after Slenderman had already been created. Der Grossman, as it was being presented in the stories, was part of the mythology. Another invention, think about it. Someone created a monster in 2009 and almost immediately people began giving it a past. We gave him old stories, old photographs, witnesses, missing children, documents. We manufactured memories of a creature had never been there, and slowly Slenderman stopped feeling like a character. He started feeling like something we had forgotten. Why? Why were people so interested in making him old? Maybe because Slenderman was never completely new. The character was. The fear wasn't. A tall human shape standing between trees. Something that looks like us but clearly isn't. A creature that watches from a distance. Children disappearing. The forest as a place where the rules of civilization stops protecting you. These fears are much older than the internet. Human beings have been telling stories about watchers, child-stealing creatures, faceless spirits, and things hiding beyond the light for centuries. Slenderman didn't invent those fears. He gave them a body. And then something strange happened. People started seeing him, or at least they claimed they did. Across internet forums and paranormal communities, anonymous accounts began appearing. People describing tall figures, human-like shapes, something watching them from a distance. Figures near roads, forests, windows. Some described unnatural movement. Others described nothing moving at all, just a figure standing there, watching. These accounts are not evidence that Slenderman exists. They are anonymous, unverified. Some are almost certainly stories. Some may be deliberate hoaxes, and many don't even agree with each other. Some witnesses describe a faceless figure. Others claim they saw features. Some described a suit. Others only remember a dark shape. Some say the figure moved. Others say if these people were all describing the same creatures, they were doing a terrible job of agreeing on what it looked like. But maybe that's not the interesting part. After Slenderman, after the photographs, after the videos, after millions of people already knew exactly what they were supposed to fear. Normally legends are supposed to begin with an event. Someone sees something, they tell a story. The story spreads, and eventually a monster is born. Event, story, legend. Slenderman moved backward. The monster came first, then the stories, then the alleged sightings. Legend, story, event. There's a term used by folklorists for something close to this. Reverse ostension. A legend doesn't simply form around experiences. People begin creating or interpreting experiences through a legend that already exists. Slenderman didn't become a story because people saw him. People began claiming to see him because they already knew the story. And there may be a very simple explanation for this. The human mind is not a camera. We like to imagine that our eyes record the world and our brain simply watches the footage. But perception doesn't work that cleanly. We interpret what we see. We compare shapes to things we already know. We fill gaps. We search for patterns. Imagine walking through a forest at night. You see a thin, vertical shape between two trees. Before 2009, maybe it's just another tree. Maybe it's a person. Maybe you don't think about it at all. But after hours of Slenderman videos, after reading the stories, after playing the games, you already know a shape. Tall, thin, human-like. Watching. The object hasn't changed. You have. Slenderman gave millions of people the same pattern, the same visual language. A shadow becomes a figure becomes a watcher, and the watchers became Slenderman. Maybe the internet didn't create a monster. Maybe it created a category, a place in the human mind where certain unclear experiences could now be stored. That would explain a lot. The fake photographs, the false history, the alleged sightings. People saw what they had trained themselves to recognize. People wanted to believe. Some pretended, some lied. That is the comfortable explanation. But there is another idea, not a scientific theory, not something that has been demonstrated to be real. An idea found in occult and paranormal communities. The terminology changes depending on who you ask. Thought form, egregore, and modern Western paranormal discussions, tulpa. The histories behind these words are complicated, and the modern internet idea of a tulpa should not be confused with traditional Tibetan beliefs. But the paranormal concept is surprisingly simple. People imagine it, they repeat it, they give it a name, a shape, a personality. They feed it emotion, fear, love, obsession. And according to believers, if enough attention is focused on the same idea, eventually it may begin to exist independently of the person who created it. Again, there's no scientific evidence that human thought can physically create a monster, but if you believed it could, Slenderman could be a terrifying experiment. Think about what we did. Millions imagined him standing behind them. Children drew him. Writers created encounters with him. People entered forests searching for him. Players spent hours inside digital worlds waiting for him to appear. Forums created witnesses. Artists gave him new forms. And every time the story changed, the monster survived. Tall, thin, faceless, and watching. What happens when millions of people imagine the same monster? Not once, not for a week, for years. Maybe nothing, probably nothing. Maybe every Slenderman sighting is a hoax. Maybe every figure was a tree, a shadow, a stranger standing too far away. And because the internet had already given people a monster, their mind filled in the missing details. But people who believe in thought forms would ask a different question. If humans could create something through attention, would we even realize we were doing it? Eric Knudsen created Slenderman on June 10, 2009. That much is documented. We know the thread, we know the photographs, we know the man who made them. The ancient history was invented. The original witnesses were fictional. The monster began as an image. The mystery isn't where Slenderman came from. We already know. The mystery is why, after we invented him, people began claiming they recognized him. Maybe Slenderman was never an ancient monster. Maybe we were trying to create one.